Hi everyone, it's Paola. So today I was thinking about movies and the movies that I like and why I like them, and it really got me thinking about the graphic design element to movies, and I thought it would be an interesting topic to discuss because I feel like it's a forgotten side of graphic design, and you know what? I'm gonna shed some light on it. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, what I'm referring to is basically in any movie that requires a newspaper, or there's a poster, or there's a sign, or say it's a period piece and they need all these certain things to look like a certain way, then this is all like the set design, the props, all of that, and they hire graphic designers to do a lot of the work to create the visual experience that you see when you're watching a movie. So I think this is so cool because basically, like, it's stuff that you don't even notice and it's just sort of going into your unconscious mind while you're watching a movie. And it's really apparent in period pieces and movies that kind of need to create their own little world, like in fantasy or some sort of dystopian society movies, which I know are really popular. Any movie that really needs to have their own visual feel to it is really utilizing this graphic design, and it's not that apparent, but it's all going in there to create the whole visual experience. So in movies where they create their own fantasy world or just their own like visual aesthetic, the graphic design is very important in those types of movies because it creates this entire new experience that's not something you're familiar with, but something that feels very authentic for what it is in the movie. So my two favorite examples of this are one, Wes Anderson. Wes Anderson in general as a director is very stylized, and he creates a whole visual aesthetic and narrative throughout his movies, but especially his movie The Grand Budapest Hotel, design takes more of the forefront in this movie. Like, it's all about design, and the typefaces are front and center, and there are complete shots where it is just a screen with a typeface. So art and graphic design is very important in the Grand Budapest Hotel, and it creates a visually stunning, beautiful movie, and I love it. I am obsessed with Wes Anderson's work, but especially from a graphic design and art standpoint, his work is impeccable because he thinks of every little thing, and all the people who work on that movie deserve awards because it's perfect. And the second movie that I think involves tons and tons of graphic design to create a beautiful fantasy world is the Harry Potter series. And I'm a super big fan of Harry Potter, and I think that the work that they did in Harry Potter is impeccable as well. The graphic design is a lot more subtle. It's not the forefront of the movie, but all of the combination of graphic design and art used in the movie creates a beautiful world that feels really real, feels really believable, and it's stuff that you might overlook, but it creates the whole atmosphere of the movie to make it what it is. So we're going to look at some examples, and low-key I have examples because I went to Harry Potter World, and as you know, well, maybe you don't know, at Harry Potter World, they make things that look exactly like they do in the movies that you can actually have, so it looks really like you're getting props from the movie because it's things that they use, and like you can get a wand, and you can get robes, and blah blah blah, but you can also get all these little things that are like really cool, like the candy and little signs and stuff, and it's all at Harry Potter World, which was amazing. I need to go back. I went years ago. But the graphic design is really amazing, and you can see it when you actually hold a thing from the movie physically. So like, for example, these Birdie Bots Every Flavor beans, they are in the movie, so it's definitely a part of the props, a part of the set, and it was created specifically because it's in the books. You know, they eat the every flavor beans, but of course a designer or an artist had to think about, okay, what are these going to exactly look like? What is the wizarding world going to do when they create candy as opposed to the regular muggle world? So they had to really think about the aesthetic that they wanted to do, which it seems like it's kind of like vintage circus kind of idea. And then they had to think about the typeface and everything and just put it all together to create something that felt authentic to what wizards would do, which, I mean, again, it's like creating a fantasy world visually with graphic design and art. It creates this amazing thing that is pretty overlooked. And besides props that people were actually using within the movies in Harry Potter, like candy and things like that, and wands and all of this physical things that you're thinking of, because obviously it's the forefront of the scene, there are also so many aspects in the backgrounds of the Harry Potter movies that I think are amazing, like all of Diagon Alley, all the signs, all of the toys and things in the joke shop. Those are like so detailed, and just the whole idea just comes together like really beautifully. But what I think is really impressive is like the newspapers and stuff, which I think a lot of people don't think about when they're watching a movie. Like when you're watching a movie, you don't think that the newspaper was created, but especially in a movie like Harry Potter, where the newspaper is not a real newspaper. It's not like they're just holding the New York Times. It is a designed piece of fictional ideas. So obviously an artist and designer had to sit down and create it, and I just think it's so impressive, and like little background things like that are really cool to me. And that's why I have this sign, which is a Harry Potter Undesirable #1. If you don't know Harry Potter, you probably are like confused, but you know what, whatever. This is a sign that's in the movies, and it's posted all over Diagon Alley at one point. But I just think it's really cool how they go with a whole vibe, visual vibe of what this kind of thing would look like, and it's almost as if it is like old-timey in a way. I don't even know if it's like a way to put it, but it's not like a super modern thing, and I feel like that was the visual narrative of the wizarding world, is it sort of like reminds you of an old time where you think of like witches and stuff, and you think of like history, like the past, because that's just like how it's always been set. But then at the same time, Harry Potter was set in present day. It wasn't set in like the past. It's not a period piece, but it's definitely a whole different world that's not really real. So it's kind of this like strange combination to create something pretty cool to me. I just feel like it looks so interesting that it's like, oh yeah, it would be like burned looking pages, and it'd be like this parchment, and they use like ink and stuff in that movie, like they don't even use pens. So it's just a really interesting like juxtaposition. But I found it really cool, and that's why I have it. I have it in my room on a shelf. And yes, I'm a big Harry Potter nerd, okay? You can make fun of me all you want. I'm over it. And in Grand Budapest Hotel by Wes Anderson, unfortunately there's not a Wes Anderson world to have all these props. It would probably be like a camp or something. But in Grand Budapest Hotel, design definitely takes a lead. It's not just the background, it's not just creating the world, it is definitely a part of the movie. And it's really down to detail with that. There's like the Sweets box, the Mendel's box, there are the scenes that are just the titles, there are newspapers, there are signs, and all of that really creates an aesthetic that Wes Anderson really sticks to, along with color. Color is really important in his movies. I think it's set in the 1930s, if I'm mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's just creating a perfect design feel that I really love. I love the Art Deco inspired typefaces involved in it, and I feel like it's just totally me when I look at it. But yeah, that is basically all I wanted to talk about. But I thought this would be a cool video because I feel like, one, it is not a job that people think of if you're interested in graphic design, or when you're studying graphic design, you don't think of this as an option, but it would be like the coolest job to work on movie sets and TV sets, to do graphic design or art or illustration for them. And two, because they don't get enough recognition. Like, this job is really cool. It's probably really hard, long hours, you're on set, you're designing, you're creating this whole visual idea that is going to be in a film, which is kind of a lot of pressure. And these people do a lot of amazing work. So I thought I would just highlight it and just highlight like a part of graphic design that you might not know about. So next time you watch a movie, make sure you're paying attention. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and comment down below what your favorite movie is for graphic design and art related things involved in it, because I would love to watch it. And also turn on the bell to get notifications for when I post, because I feel like YouTube does not let people know that I'm posting, but I am. So turn on the notification if you're watching this, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
I knew there was something fishy. We never got the cause of death. She's been murdered. And you think I did it? Hey!